I'm here on behalf of the Women's Rights Network. We're a grassroots movement, and so are lots of you here. We're a grassroots movement of women across the UK. We're around 1,000 in number at the moment, each a part of 50 local groups. We're fighting for women and children. We're women who have seen and experienced the erosion of our rights. And let's face it, those rights have not been ours for very long. We are women who know what it's like to be discriminated against, to be harassed, and for many of us, assaulted by men. We thought we had reached the stage where the society we live in respected those rights that were so hard fought for by our feminist predecessors. But we collectively took our eye off the ball. We won't do that again. We and the other women we fight alongside have been called an extraordinary number of names. The infamous terf, dinosaurs, domesticated zombies, and that from our own side. Terrorists and extremists, for God's sake. And last week we were accused of being bots. And the most insulting names: cervix havers, chest feeders, and other equally appalling names. There is just one name that describes us: women. Adult and female. So I'm going to talk about language. People talking earlier today referring to this as an issue. It's a key tool in the armory of our foes. They have chosen the words that they want all now to use. So I think it's time we turn that around and use the language that we all know and recognise. And for those in the world that are struggling to understand still what this fight is about, we need to reintroduce clarity. Our most immediate foe or threat in the fight to retain our rights is, of course, trans ideology. It wins if the word woman is erased. The trans umbrella is deliberately confusing. There are 4 key elements of that umbrella that we need to start separating out and defining in order that our arguments cut through. Transsexuals. Everyone understands what this means. And it was for this small number of people that the Gender Recognition Act was put into law. People who, despite help and care, were unable to reconcile their mental state with the reality of their bodies. This group is, of course, predominantly men. Transvestites, cross-dressers, the AGPs, they call now. This group don't want to change their biological sex. They get a kick from thinking they pass as women. This is a fetish group. And to those that live as dogs who claim they're just the same as any person in the high street, no, you're not. And this is the group that we're predominantly talking about when we talk about our safe spaces, our toilets, our hospital wards, our shelters. Guess what? This group is exclusively men. The third group there is no defined term for, but I'm calling social trans. This is the cult of youth. In previous years they might have been the goths, the emos. They are victims of the social contagion of trans ideology. So much more dangerous than the social contagions of the past, and seeping so successfully through social media. They are desperately seeking a label for themselves because they are unable to define themselves without a label. A label they need to live their truth. Inverted commas. This group is made up of both men and women, although I struggle to use that adult terminology to define them. And statistics show that women, girls, are a very large part of that group and are the ones to suffer most harm through medicalisation. And the final group is children. Those that Those that believe what they are told in school by adults. That if they don't like pink sparkles, they must be a boy. That if they don't like football, they must be a girl. That it is possible to change sex. That Santa Claus exists. There are, of course, nuances around these definitions. There's not a one-size-fits-all. I recognise that. But when we are debating, arguing, or just picking our next-door neighbour, we need to start talking about these different groups. If not, we find ourselves talking at cross purposes. Each group comes with a different set of issues and different solutions. The erosion of women, our rights, and the words used to define ourselves only serves to further confuse society at large. Our collective female eyes are very firmly on the ball now. Yes. And that's where it's staying. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Do give us a like, share this with everybody you know, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If you'd like to find out more about the Women's Rights Network, you can find us at Twitter at Women's Rights Net or online at womensrights.network. We look forward to seeing you there. Do join us.